wonderful resource hour for you all today. I like to be punctual and start up on time. It is 10 a.m., especially when we are talking about grants, because there's a whole bunch of information and grants that I'm going to share with you all today. So I hope that you have your pen and paper ready and that you have access to the chat feature as well, while I will be sharing links. I always like to start off the grant session by, of course, introducing the WBC, telling you a little bit about the prep work, and then diving into a plethora of grants that you all have access to. Yes, these grant opportunities are for any and everyone unless specified. So it is not just grants that are in San Antonio, Texas. We do make sure that we like to share grant opportunities for people that may be joining us from other regional areas as well. So thank you all so much for hopping on board. Once again, this is the San Antonio Women's Business Center, which has been around since 2008. It is powered by a cooperative agreement between the U.S. Small Business Administration and LIFT Fund, which is the funding arm of the actual components that you have probably gotten so familiar with when you hear WBC. Even though we are located in San Antonio, there are WBCs in Houston as well as Dallas. We have a satellite office that's in the Valley and in Corpus Christi. And there are also WBCs outside of the state of Texas. So wherever you go, there is actually a WBC or a LIFT Fund office that can actually assist you. The people that you see in front of you from my left is Jacqueline Hernandez, your program manager. In the center, you have the beautiful Ms. Margaret Wilson-Analia, who is your director. And then the final person on the right with the fabulous cheesy smile is me, Dr. Shea Robinson. And I do believe that you all heard a voice of heaven who is also part of the San Antonio WBC as well. So she is the newest one to join us, and she's waving. There she is with her beautiful self wearing the fabulous glasses and smiling at you all. So she is actually part of the fabulous San Antonio team as well. So I need to add her fabulous face to this wonderful slide of the team that make up the San Antonio WBC. And she is in the background today handling some of the tech. So please make sure you are active on the chat side of the house, and we're going to go ahead and proceed on. That's just me. For those of y'all who have been with me before, you know a little bit about me. I'm not going to share too much because there's a lot of information to cover. So today is all about grants. And before I start diving into them, you know that I love to talk about grants, the overall process, and we try to do this at least once a quarter, and there's always a large amount of attendance. It is being recorded, so you will have access to this for the future. There are numerous different grants that are actually out there depending on what industry you are in. So it is not specific to just for-profits. There's also nonprofit opportunities out there. There are grant opportunities for people who are 5 years in business, as well as people who are brand new in business. So we're going to talk about a plethora of different grant opportunities that are actually out there because the programs are endless. One of the big things that I always like to tell clients about is what I call best practices. So these are things that everybody, regardless of your industry, you want to be mindful of when you are looking at potentially applying for grants. If you have a phone, please go ahead and take a screenshot of this actual slide. Best practices, as I like to call them, right? Make sure that you read over the entire grant application, because sometimes there are grants that are very specific to like a regional area. So maybe it's just Texas. It's specific to a gender. So maybe it's only open for women. Maybe it's only open for veterans, right? So a specific niche group. So definitely make sure you read over the entire application, check those deadlines and dates. Only apply for ones that you actually qualify for, right? So if one of the qualifications or requirements is for businesses 2 years plus, and you just opened your business 2 months ago, the odds of you actually getting awarded that grant is probably slim to none. So you want to make sure you pay very close attention to the qualifications, check the due dates on all of your grant applications, make sure you review those instructions regularly because they are important. And I have on here any kind of meetings or pre-bid budget meetings. I love to keep that on there because you hear about it with RFPs, which is on the contracting side of the house. But sometimes you have grants that actually has info sessions, like here in San Antonio with the downtown construction grant, as well as the equity grant. There actually were info sessions that you could attend. So anytime you have an opportunity to attend those sessions with the main point of contact and ask your questions face to face, definitely make sure that you take that into consideration. Give exactly what is being requested. Make sure that you're clear and concise in the information that you put in. Being intentional in your actual verbiage, right? So the how and the where. You want to make sure that you're answering thoroughly. So please don't put, I'm just applying because I need money. It may be true, but we want to know a little bit more. What are you going to do with the money? How will the money be utilized? So that's what I mean by verbiage, right? Utilize standard terms as you are applying for potential grants, and make sure that you answer in bullet points, right? Keep it straight to the point. Give us the meat of what it is that you're looking for. If there's space, you will have grant applications that may ask you for an introductory letter where they want to know a little bit about your business and what you've done in the past. Definitely take that into consideration as well. Sometimes they'll ask for a table of contents, and that's why I put a little asterisk there. Other times they may not. It may just be straight questions and you just answer them and you're good. Have a clear understanding of your company's history. And what I mean by that is sometimes you may start off as a sole proprietor, right, in 2009, but in 2019, you had grown so much, you actually transitioned to an LLC. So a lot of business owners, it's a little hard for them to actually structure that sentence because technically they've been around since 2009, but they've only been an LLC since 2019. So make sure that you have a clear understanding of those dates of when your business was founded, as well as a clear understanding of the individuals that make up your company as well. Updated resumes and bios of your team is always important because you will need that information for different grants that you may be applying for. I always like to tell individuals to actually keep that information in what I like to consider like a file cabinet of some sort on your computer. So like a file system with all of these documents, because like your company background, mission statement, executive summary, all of that information is going to stay the same. So have it in a file on your computer. That way you can literally just open it up and cut and paste as you go and not have to retype all of that information on a consistent basis. So definitely make sure you take that into consideration. If you are not awarded a grant, you can always ask for a debriefing, right? In most cases, depending on who the grant is ran through, they'll send you a letter and say, hey, thank you for applying, but A, B, C, and D. Find out what you did great. Find out where there may be some current opportunities. Maybe it was a requirement that you missed. And of course, you weren't going to be able to get the grant because it was for people that lived in New York State and you lived in California. So you want to make sure if you have a question when a grant is awarded and you are not one of the recipients, that you find out where the disconnect might have been in case they have that grant opportunity roll back around again and you decide to apply again. Now you have an understanding of what you might have missed, right? But when it's all said and done, nobody knows your business better than you. So you want to make sure that you have your ducks in a row before you take that leap and apply for these grant opportunities. And what I'm getting ready to do now is I am going to stop this share and I am getting ready to dive into some grant opportunities that you all have access to right now. So hold on one second and make sure you have your chat feed open because I am going to actually share the opportunities directly with you from my screen and into the chat feed. Give me 1 second. And I am going to start in order of how I have them open on my computer and go back here, share screen. Don't y'all love technology? There we go. All right, so here we go. Link number one, this is actually through the National Endowment for Humanities. So for any of my individuals that are out there that are actually on the art side of the house, if you are on the side of the house with science and research, if you are active in the community, maybe you're trying to put together like a huge farm or agriculture area in your community, you definitely want to make sure that you stay involved with the National Endowment for the Humanities, because they cover a whole bunch of different grant opportunities that you rarely hear about. You'll also notice that they offer virtual grant workshops. So in other words, they have those workshops that tell you, hey, this is what you need to do when you are applying for the grant opportunities that we have, right? So they have a plethora of grants that are available to for-profits and nonprofits. The grants vary from a gamut of different things, from technology to science to climate issues. So they have a whole bunch of different things that they actually give you access to as a small business owner. This is their main website where you can find out a little bit more about their projects. You also can do a live grant search for all of the opportunities that they currently have available. They also give you access to their review process. So if you're curious about how it actually works, definitely make sure you check that out. And then you can also sign up for a grant workshop that they offer as well. One of the big questions that I get on a regular basis is, hey, Dr. Robinson, I saw this grant, but I had questions about it. And I was trying to find out, what they meant by a rubrics, right? So a rubrics is how they score the grant, right? So there is a specific methodology or scoring that is attached to the grant process. In most cases, it's probably like a 100-point scale, right? So they may have 20 points if you actually meet the qualifications of, say, being a vet, if that's one of the things they have listed. Another 25 points because your company has a substantial need and you actually explained it in the grant, right? So you're up to 45 points already. So that is how that rubrics actually works. So make sure you read over the section that talks about the scoring of a particular grant as well. So this is the National Endowment for the Humanities. I just put their fabulous link into the chat feed so you all have access to their website. It's very easy to find, www.neh.gov/grants with an S. All right, so check them out and share them with your network. And as I like to say, this is an organization that your tax dollars, right, funds. So definitely make sure you check on a regular basis. So if they may not necessarily have something in your wheelhouse this month, check back next month, right? And sign up for their newsletter because they actually drop grants and training in their newsletter that you can have access to. So definitely make sure you keep them in your, as I like to say, in your pocket for additional grants and resources that they may have. All right, so let's go to my next window and let me see if I can do a new share so I can make sure the right screen is being shared. It should say Cultivating the American Dream. This is through the Second Service Foundation. So for my veterans that are out there, as well as military spouses, this is a great foundation that offers grants for veteran business owners. Yes. So not only do you have the VBOC Center, which is your Veteran Business Opportunity Centers that are located all over the continental United States, including in beautiful San Antonio, because we are known as Military Town, USA, you actually have organizations that specifically have grant opportunities for you if you are a vet or a spouse of someone who is a veteran. And I'm going to put their information, as I mentioned, into the feed, right? And there is their live link, right? So this is the Second Service Foundation. So they have a plethora of different programs that are open to vets as well as military spouses. And they have a fabulous grant that you can actually apply for. You notice as I scroll down, they have on here literally the capital grant, Apply online for our Military Entrepreneurship Challenge and pitch your business idea to a panel of judges for a chance to be a recipient of a capital grant, right? So they also do coaching as well. So this is their main website that gives you access to them. Make sure if you are a veteran or a spouse of a veteran and you are interested in applying for this grant, go to their website, get a little bit more information, and click on that link that actually says Capital Grant, which is right here, to actually go ahead and start that process because they are open right now for actual applicants to apply. So, and I'm not for sure if I have any veterans or spouses of veterans here, but if so, this is for you. So definitely make sure you put that one in your file cabinet. All right, I'm going to do another share here. Give me 1 second. Make sure I'm sharing the right screen. All right, this one should say USDA Rural Department of Agriculture, right? Once again, another US grant opportunity. Most people do not realize that all of these wonderful departments that we have in the United States actually have grant opportunities within their specific departments. So one of the first ones was the National Humanities, right? Department of Humanities and Educational Studies. This one is tied into rural folks, right? So if you actually live in a rural community, say like Lavernia, Seguin, Pleasanton, even New Braunfels, even though it's really like a metro of San Antonio, is considered up and coming, you're considered rural. So there are actual development grants that you all have access to through the USDA, right? So this is the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. They have a plethora of grants literally tied into for-profits and nonprofits that you actually have access to. You can also go to this website and find the eligible areas. Since it is considered rural grant opportunities, one of the main qualifications is that you must be located within a rural community. The grants are not geared towards only farming, because that's what question I got the last time. These grants are actually dedicated towards any type of business that will literally increase the overall development and economic reach of the community that that business is in. It may be a candle shop that you have in Seguin that you are looking to do maybe an aesthetic upgrade to. Maybe you need to hire additional employees. That can possibly be used for that. So definitely make sure you check this grant out. If you meet the qualifications, you live within a rural community. Gonna go ahead and put this one into the chat feed for you all as well. And there you go. So if you are within those communities, definitely make sure you check out that program that they have. And notice also that it's not just grants that they offer, but they have a plethora of other programs that are tied into it as well. You have your application periods mentioned as well as your close periods. Right now, it is currently open. So you definitely want to make sure if you meet the specifications and qualifications they have listed, you go ahead and check out this particular grant opportunity. All right, I'm still going, my good people. Let's see where I got next. I always like to make sure that I open up the opportunities early. There we go. So I don't have to have you all wait. All right, my next screen is tied into the Freed Fellowship. This wonderful grant is a really cool grant that you get access to along with coaching and training. It is free for you to apply for this grant opportunity. It's actually pretty straightforward too and easy to apply. But this particular grant is geared toward literally any business in any market, right? They have small grants of 500 all the way up to like 2,500 that they offer through their organization. Well-known group of individuals. They've been on quite a few different channels talking about their reach, literally tied into businesses that are on the startup side of the house that are trying to get themselves exposed, right? So you will go onto this website, get a little bit more more information about them, and they even have all of the different steps on here about the different grants that are available. You get access to what they call the Free Studio. That actually is a group of a whole bunch of different business owners on a regular basis that meet. You get access to that. You get access to the larger grant. So it's just a plethora of really cool things that you can get through this particular grant. And it is called the Freed Fellowship, founded by self-employed individuals such as yourself, who literally wanted to connect with other self-employed individuals, and they formed this really cool grant that they now offer. And I'm going to put them into the window as well. I hope I'm not going too fast for you all. Somebody give me like a thumbs up for those of you all that have your cameras on to let me know you can still hear me and I'm not going too fast. Am I all right? Yes. I don't see any thumbs up yet or anybody in the chat. So I hope everybody can hear me okay. I'm good? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to say yes. All right, there we go. I see a yes. Perfect. All right. So that is the Freed Fellowship Grant. So definitely check them out. They are now in the feed as well. So you do have access to them. And just remember what I mentioned earlier, right? So you want to do your research, make sure you meet all of the qualifications, have all of your little ducks in a row in your nice little file so you can literally just cut and paste this information in. Your business history is going to stay the same. Most cases, your bio is going to stay the same, right? When you were founded, all of that information, you don't want to have to type out that story like 99 times. So the easiest thing for you to do is put all of that in Microsoft Word, save it into a file, literally title it like Grant Opportunity Folder. So you can just open that folder up and push information into all of these different grants that I'm giving you all access to. All right, so that is the Freed Fellowship Grant that you all have access to. So I'm going to stop my share again. Actually, I might not need to stop it. I should be able to just click over. Let me see which one I am sharing now. All right, so you all should be seeing one that says Fearless Fund Strivers Grant. All right, so this particular grant actually was just sent to me this morning. So this is a new one that I gained access to. I'm actually part of the Fearless Fund. Fearless Fund is open to what we call women business enterprises, so WBEs, of all races and ethnicities and nationalities. They actually offer grant opportunities to different groups within the Fearless Fund and the general public. So this particular one is called the Fearless Strivers Grant Contest. I have to make sure I get that name right. It is geared towards African-American or Black female-led businesses, and it is backed by a MasterCard. They have the official rules and all of that good stuff actually on here because there's a plethora of them. It is open until the August the 31st. Yes, August the 31st. So you actually have a while. As I mentioned, just opened up. So definitely check out this particular grant if you meet the qualifications. One of the main ones is being based here in the United States, having a minimum of 50K in transactional sales, and being an African-American female business owner within any of the 50 continental, actually it's 49 continental states. So if you're in Hawaii, I'm sorry, but the main 49 that are within North America, you actually do have access to this particular grant. So I'm going to put that one into the feed for you as well. And okay, Carla asks, do they have grants and contests for Mexican American and Latina WEs? They do. Yeah, they actually have different ones like on a monthly basis, depending on who the sponsor is. They had a really good one for Latina WBEs back in like February. I think it was either the January or February, that was backed by Frito-Lay, and I think it was Crest. If y'all remember the old school body wash that everybody used to love from back in the day, yes, they're still around, believe it or not. But they were one of the sponsors for it. So I may see if I can go to the main Fearless Fund or iFund site and see what other ones they have on here for you. And I'll push their main link into the feed because it's like $9 for the whole year to be a part of the Fearless Fund. So yes, Miss Carla, you're welcome. All right, so that is the Fearless Fun, and I have some other ones on here, so don't leave me now. What is this one? Okay, I did that one already. Did the Fearless Fun. Okay, go this way and see if I'm sharing one of my favorites. Actually, I'll do that one last. Let's do Nerd Wallet. Okay, so you should be seeing the Nerd Wallet page right now. Yep, I'm showing that. That's the one that I'm showing. They actually love to put together a link on a regular basis for different business grants. This one is their latest updated one. So they keep like a little database. This one was updated at the beginning of this month on the 4th of April. So you all have probably heard of NerdWallet before because they're well known with just their little tidbits and ideas that they give people revolving around. There we go. Love those technology gadgets and phones that ring out of nowhere, but they give really cool tips for people when it comes to financing and building financial wealth. So this is their latest update. And here is the link to this particular article because they have a lot of grants that's mentioned on here. I'm just going to go through some of them briefly, but you all now have access to it. Save this link because they update this on a regular basis, right? All right. So here is some of the ones that they currently have listed. So in this particular one, they talk about grants.gov, and I'll go to them in a second because there's actually a website ran by the government that has a plethora of grant opportunities for business owners on the for-profit and nonprofit side of the house. Is free for you to join and gain access to it. And that is grants.gov. That is different from grants.org. Because someone actually was like, I was on there and they asked me for a fee. Wrong site, right? It needs to be .gov because that is the one that is actually ran by the government. So that's the one that you want. So they do have them listed on here. They also have the Small Business Innovation Research and Small Business Technology Transfer Program. That is a mouthful, but that is actually up under the government again. It is actually ran by the Small Business Administration. So the STTR, as it's known, the acronym for it, is a really cool grant opportunity for those of you all that are in science, research, and development. Even if you're doing something like coming up with a cosmetic line, right? And you need to do your R&D to make sure that your mixes for your nail polishes and your lipsticks are up to snuff for the US FDA as far as regulations goes, you can actually apply for the STTR to cover the R&D for that particular business for your cosmetic line, right? So that's how that works. So definitely check out the STTR, and that's the Small Business Innovation Research, Small Business Technology Transfer Program. Mouthful, I know, but I did put the link into the chat feed for you all to have access to. I already told you about the Rural Business Grant. And then they also have on here just what they call the micro entrepreneurs. This one isn't necessarily something that they have open on a regular basis, but this is up under the SBA again. There's actually different components of it that's actually attached to your community. Right now, ARPA is huge in San Antonio, Houston, and Dallas. So you probably hear people talk about the ARPA fund. So your cities are regulating how those funds are actually going to be divvied out. Example, here in San Antonio, part of the ARPA funds have actually been utilized for what they call the Downtown Revitalization Grant, because there's a whole bunch of construction that's happening in quite a few of the areas downtown San Antonio. So since those businesses are utilizing or losing funding as far as traffic goes, the city actually has came forward with a grant opportunity for those business owners, right, to cover that loss. So that's how that whole situation with ARPA kind of works. All right, so they give you just a plethora of different agencies and partners that you can possibly work on and find out more about. You will see also that they have specific grants up under what they consider the 4 main large states for business opportunities, and Texas is on that list. Please notice that there is a Texas Workforce Commission Skills for Small Business, right? If you are a small business owner and you have newly hired workers, but they need to complete training, you can get $1,800 for each new employee being trained and $900 for existing employees per 12-month period. So this is a really cool program. It is not necessarily tied to a regional area of Texas. Is literally the whole entire state, regardless of where you are located at. So if you have employees or you're getting ready to hire employees, this is a great opportunity for you to take advantage of that. If you are in San Antonio, make sure you're familiar with Alamo on the Job. So this is a situation where it isn't funded as far as money in your hand, but it's funded because you get additional staff. AOJ, as it's called, or Alamo on the Job, the city of San Antonio will actually cover for you to have someone come in for 20 hours a week. They will actually cover their salary, and it is one of the Alamo Community College District students. So if you need an additional person, say, to do your marketing, because that's huge, right, for social media, you would go through Alamo on the Job. They will track down a student who's in the business program, already has exposure to social media for 20 hours a week. They'll cover them. They're paying them $14.50 an hour. They punch in and out through the city. So none of that paperwork gets handed over to you as a small business owner. So that isn't specifically a monetary, grant where it's put in your hand or in your bank account, but it's still considered a grant program because you have an additional staff member that you now have access to for 20 hours a week, that in essence is covered by the city. So definitely take that into consideration as well. And someone they want the link to this, so I'm going to click open. This is the Skills for Small Business program, which was the one that I just mentioned. So here is the link to it. Give me 1 second. Okay, so here is that one. Alrighty, and I will track down the AOJ program as well. And the contact for that is Ana Villanueva. So let me track her down as well. All right, so you should be seeing the Skills for Small Business. And remember, I mentioned that even though our office is located in San Antonio, we still love to give access to all over grant opportunities. This one is for the state of Texas, but once again, do have other things that's actually on my list. All right, so going back to where I was, I hope my screen is still showing. Let's see. Yes, I'm still showing. Okay, good. Have to check. All right, so I talked about the workforce one. There's one out here for Center for Women Entrepreneurs Veterans Program. So this one right here is geared towards my female vets, right? If you are in the state of Texas and you own or you are starting a business, so this is a startup grant that you have access to, $5,000 in grant funding, and it can be used for a variety of different business purposes, from buying equipment to inventory to even property improvements, right? So maybe some of the aesthetics on the outside of a location is not where you want it to be, and you want to get brand new signage, right, to open up. They got you covered. So I'm going to put them into the feed as well. So here that is again. All right, give me 1 second. Copy and chat, feed, and paste. So there you go for all of my female veterans that are joining us today. Once again, this one is for the state of Texas. As far as the offer goes, you do have to be a veteran, and in Texas. All right, this one is based out of the Amory Bank, and it is towards a small business boost. So this one is tied into funding for small businesses that are within Harris County. I had to make sure I get the right county right. So I'm going to put them in here for you as well. It is considered a small business boost. Oh, someone said, is there something going on with my audio? Okay. Oh, it's no telling. Sometimes the weather gets a little crazy, or it might be because I have numerous windows opening. Okay, it's better now. Okay. Yeah, so it probably was the weather. Texas weathers are getting a little wonkers right now. Don't know what's going on. So there is the one for those that are in Harris County. So, and it is in the chat feed for you all to gain access to it as well. So I'm going to scroll down further. And remember, I told you this is through NerdWallet. So they have a plethora of grants on this actual link that you all have access to. All right, so let's talk about corporate small businesses. So what are corporate small business grants? You're probably like, what does that mean? So corporate small business grants are grant opportunities that are actually done by large corporations, right? So all of the ones that you see on here, you're probably very familiar with. Everybody's familiar with FedEx. most people are familiar with Visa, right? So they actually offer their own grants for small business owners. So the main one that a lot of people are familiar with, and we've actually had quite a few people in San Antonio apply for and receive, is the FedEx Small Business Grant Contest. So this is a huge one that has open enrollment as well as second round enrollments throughout the year, right? So the one for the first half of 2023, as you can see on the screen, has completed, but it will reopen because they have narrowed it down to their top 100 finalists. So you're like, well, Dr. Robinson, if it's already closed, then what about me, right? So what you will do is save this link, and they have a spot where you can actually sign up for updates for when the second round opens back up. So when they open back up the second round, you can then attempt to apply for this year. So as you can see, it's $30,000 in grand prizes that they offer up. Great contest. We've had quite a few businesses here in San Antonio that have actually made it to the finalists, as well as won the FedEx for Small Business opportunity. So definitely make sure you can go ahead and save them into your feed. And I just put them into the chat, right? And that is the FedEx Small Business Grant Contest. The other big one that's on here that I am very familiar with is actually all of these, the National Association for the Self-Employed. Someone actually told me that they didn't even know that this organization exists, but they do. So if you are self-employed, meaning that you're a solopreneur, you hired yourself, as I like to say, you do have access to the National Association for Self-Employed. They actually do offer grant opportunities, right? They even have on here up to $4,000 through their NACE grant, or as they call it, NACE Growth Grants Program. Once again, we love the tongue twisters with names. So you can definitely check out their grant opportunities that they have. I will say this, if you are not a member of their group, they do have grant opportunities for people that are not necessarily a member of NACE, as well as applicants who are members of their actual group. So definitely take that into consideration as well. So there is their link to find out about their grant opportunity, as well as about the organization, but it is called the National Association for the Self-Employed. They can help you when it comes to different resources for self-employed individuals. So maybe you're trying to find out about a 401k, because believe it or not, as a small business owner, you can actually get a 401k under your business's name, right? So definitely dig around their site once you get exposed to their grant opportunities. Last time I checked, Carla, I think the membership was like $200 annually. I do not know how much it is now, because that was probably about 2-3 years ago. Here, let's click and see. Annual membership. Let's see if they have it on here. $120. There you go. So there's your answer. So it actually has went down. So it's $120 to be a member of this. And for those of you all who are looking at different chambers, or in this case, other trade associations to join, be mindful that you can actually write that off on your taxes. And that's a separate conversation. But with your different associations that you may join, your chambers, National Association of Self-Employed, WHIP is another one, Women Making an Impact in Government and Politics. Bank is another big one that people are familiar with. Even your certifications, because some of them actually have a fee that's attached to it. When you're doing your taxes and taking care of like your Schedule Cs, be mindful that training, as well as business association, business memberships, business subscriptions, there's actually line items for that. So keep your receipts for this so that you can claim it on your taxes and in essence get that money back, right? So there you go. That's a little tidbit on the side, just in case you're curious. All righty. So that is NACE, National Association of the Self-Employed. The next one that's on the list says Fast Break for Small Businesses Give Back. Strange title. This is ran by the NBA, WBA, and LegalZoom. This one has been around probably for about 5 years or so. So it's kind of new, but it's doing great things. And of course, with those heavy hitters attached to it, there is wonderful grant opportunities for business owners all across the country. So this is for any and everybody, male, female, veteran, LGBTQ, different religious backgrounds, for-profits and nonprofits are included in this. So that's everybody, right? So definitely check out Fast Break for Small Business Give Back. They tell you a lot about the different grant opportunities that they have available. Over 5,000 small businesses actually helped, and they have just different informations revolving around it. And as I mentioned, it is literally for everybody. So even businesses that have not necessarily got their footing yet, what will be considered startups, maybe you're 2-3 months old, definitely make sure you check them out, because this is a really cool program where you literally can find out more about them. So this is the sign up that they have here to stay connected to them. I always tell people, make sure you sign up for different grant opportunities, because this is one that rolls on a constant basis. All right, so here is this one. Give me 1 second. And I'm sharing this. All right. All right. That is Fast Break. They are now in your feed for you. All right, and then I'm going to the Visa Everywhere Initiative. So this one is a really cool one, and Visa does a lot of grant opportunities, them and MasterCard, matter of fact. So the Visa Everywhere Initiative is a really cool grant opportunity for businesses that are specifically like on the tech side of the house. So especially if you're in fintech, Bitcoin, blockchain, all of that really cool stuff that's kind of all over the place now. AI is another one. So definitely check out the Visa Everywhere Initiative. It's geared towards businesses that are kind of heavy on the tech side, particularly if you're in the startup phase of your business, but it has some other requirements too. So not just those in R&D, because there's other opportunities that's attached to it, right? So they have on here the different prizes. And as I mentioned, here are some of the requirements. And I mentioned a few, which is businesses tied into like fintech, blockchain. They even have crowdfunding on here, program managers. It's like a list, but majority of it is tied into the tech side of the house. But I do see employee benefits still on the tech side, right? When it comes to different platforms and programs to receive like payment for employees. So they do have a list. So check out all of the different things that they have, because there's quite a few as far as the requirements. They also have the prizes that are on here. So they have some big prizes from 50. They got a 10K that's on here as well. And then they have finalists in other different countries. So it's all over. They have deadlines on here as well for people, just so everybody knows when the dates are. And some of them are actually all the way out in August. So definitely make sure you check that out as well. So you all do have access to this particular grant opportunity via Visa. And here is that link. All right, and that is the Visa Everywhere Initiative 2023. And Vimo should be next. Yes. So this is the Vimo grant, once again, open to small businesses from all over. This is tied into making sure that your business has a good reach. It is a small business grant opportunity. They even have on here some of their previous winners, along with how you can connect with them as well. So as you can see, businesses from all over, all different backgrounds, selling all different types of goods, from plant shops to candle makers. I see people from Dallas, Georgia, Fort Lauderdale is on here, North Carolina, even Brooklyn. So everybody. So they have a whole laundry list of different recipients that's on here. And they actually have a link on here for the updates to make sure that you stay connected for when they start their 2023 round. So I'm going to put that in the thing for you again. Copy and paste. All right, I've actually lost count on how many grants that I've talked about, but there's another one for you all to have access to. And once again, these grant opportunities that I mentioned, these are not specific just to San Antonio, right? These are large corporate grants that you all have access to, regardless of where you are located at. One of the big ones that I am very familiar with is this one. This is the Verizon Small Business Digital Ready Grant Program. And I put program on the end of that because it comes with a plethora of goodies. So this particular grant is not just funding, but there's also a training component, right? So they have really cool digital classes that you can attend, and you don't even have to win the grant to actually have access to the training. So the training is completely for free once you sign up for the Verizon Small Business Digital Ready. They have a whole separate whiteboard of classes that you gain access to. There's probably about 200 different ones, from how to put together a solid business plan, how to hire staff, how to put together a board. And then the second phase that they offer you is an actual grant that you can apply for. So even if you don't receive the grant, you still gain access to all of this really cool free training. In some cases, those classes probably range from $200 to $1,000 each, but you gain access to those just for applying, which is really neat. But it is called the Verizon Small Business Digital Ready Grant Program. And they give you a plethora of information about how you can actually apply. It's really straightforward. It takes maybe less than 10 minutes to apply. You gain access to the whiteboard and all of the classes like instantly. And it's for life, the classes, right? So you have access to it forever. You will also see that they will start sending you email alerts for other resources and opportunities as well that are not specifically tied to Verizon, because sometimes they will share grant alerts from Visa, grant alerts from MasterCard. I know because I've been through their program. So they'll send you alerts for all of these other opportunities as well. So definitely check out the Verizon Small Business Digital Ready Program. Here in San Antonio, Lift Fund is one of the main supporters of this program, because we actually, the WBC and the Lift Fund side of the house, work with Verizon on a regular basis for different workshops that they have offered in years past. And this is one of the ones that Lift Fund was tied into as far as FDIC, rolling out with the program on a local level. So definitely check this program out. Once again, free access of resources and information that you have access to outside of a standard grant opportunity, which everybody loves. All right. So that is the Verizon. Here are some grants for my newbies that are on the block. So if you are a new business owner, because this is a huge one, Dr. Shay, I just started my business like 2 months ago, but there's no funding for me. Everybody wants me to have a history or an experience where I have taxes to submit for my business. And, we're a startup. We don't have that. Well, there are actual grants for startup businesses, right? So let's talk a little bit about some of them. One of the big ones that's on here that I absolutely love is called Hello Alice. I am a member of Hello Alice. I love the Hello Alice community. I can rant and rave about them forever. And the reason why I say that is because it's free for you to join Hello Alice. Once again, a really cool platform started by a plethora of entrepreneurs that wanted to make sure that everybody had access to information. Hello Alice is known not just for their funding opportunities, but they're also known for their partnerships that they have and the communities within Hello Alice. So once you join, you gain access to what they call community hubs. So for instance, with myself, I'm part of the Texas Women's Business Owners Hub. There is a Visa hub for female-led firms. There is a hub for businesses that are in San Antonio, all of these different little communities. And then they also have funding and training classes that are for free that you gain access to as well. So there isn't a fee to join Hello Alice. They put all of their grant opportunities out there for individuals that are part of the Hello Alice community. Literally all you have to do is type in grants and it will pull up any and all grant opportunities that they currently have that are available. Some days it's about 50 of them that pop up. all over, from not just the continental United States, but in other places as well. So definitely check out the Hello Alice community. As I mentioned before, there isn't a fee to join this particular community. So you definitely want to make sure that you check them out and see what they have to offer, because it's a lot. I literally I'm scrolling on here just to see what they have currently available that people have access to. So right now it looks like there is a grant opportunity with ITSE and Progressive that they are pitching to folks. So definitely go on there, check them out. And as you can see, it even says welcome back. As I mentioned, I am a member. Let's see if I can log on here and show my screen. There we go. So this is what that particular grant looks like. And the only reason why I can't share this screen with you all as far as access goes is because it's up under my login. So when you go to Hello Alice, join, as I mentioned, for free. And then you too can see their other grant opportunities. And you even see on here, it has the word round. As I mentioned, anytime you see grants that come out on a regular, consistent basis, a lot of them have actually started putting like round 1, round 2, because that lets you know that they're going to be doing it more than once, right? So this particular grant itself, which is a small business growth fund, the deadline for it is actually tomorrow for this particular grant for those businesses that would like to apply for it. And it is funded through ITSE and Progressive. Once again, Hello Alice is the resource to gain access to that particular grant program. All right. Amber Grant for Women is another great one for my small businesses out there that are female-led. This particular grant website is great because the Amber Grant, started by women-led firms, the whole premise behind it is to make sure on a monthly basis, a women-led firm actually has access to grant opportunities. Yes, so this is on a monthly basis that they actually do, and you can actually see some of the winners that they've had from previous months. So on a monthly basis, they actually have grant opportunities that you all have access to. The grants range in sizes. In some cases, I think it's 10,000. Their big annual one goes up to like 25K. So definitely make sure you check out the website to get a little bit more familiar with it. And as you can see, I mentioned the monthly one is 10, and then the large one for the year is 25K. Definitely make sure you check out the Amber Grant. Someone asked me about the application process. This is one of those application processes because it is actually done monthly. There is actually a fee. That's how they actually feed into the grants that they offer, right? And I believe the fee is $15, if I remember correctly, for the application. And it's tied into them actually being able to, $15. Want to make sure I was right. Them being able to offer the grants on a monthly basis. So in essence, the $15 that comes from all of the people from all over is what feeds into the grant offerings on a monthly basis. And once again, this is the Amber Grant. And as you can see, their application is pretty straightforward to apply. And I will put this one in the window for you all. Give me 1 second. Also check out their website because they have other resources and tools for small business owners that you all have access to as well. Like training on how to write your grant up under the tab that says like free grant tips. So they have a whole plethora of different little resources that you can gain access to as well. No fee involved for that. To make sure that you are primed and ready for a potential grant fund. That is correct. Yes, someone said it's an Amber Grant, but the organization is Women's Net. That is correct. Yeah, it is actually named after the founder's daughter, if I remember correctly. I want to say she passed away. I think it was from cancer, if I remember correctly. So she started up this fund, her and some of her other female small business owners, where they did like a version of a grant for another female business that was a startup, and it took off from that. So every month, people just kept putting 10 and 15 bucks into the pot, and then the following month they would hand out a grant. And so here we have, I want to say it's probably like 20 years old. It's now this large. So yeah, that is them. And you can find out more about their story like right here, because I think they've been around since the 90s. Yeah, so 1998. so you could get a better understanding of how it all was tied into. Yeah, it even has it on here about the young lady that passed away. So, but yeah, it's a whole story behind how they were formed and the whole concept behind them. But that was just a synopsis of it. But yes, so this is the Amber Grant, named after that young lady, and it is on the Women's Net website. And it literally is ambergrantsforwomen.com is the website. All righty. They're on my list. Got that one there. All right. So as I scroll through, these are some other grants. Not going to talk about these because a lot of them are already over, but they put them on here because the resources are still available to you. And that is tied into COVID-19. So the SBA has like a plethora of information because the grants are done with, but they do have other resources that you still have access to. Once again, I did put this link for this Nerd Wallet article, and I told you it was going to be a lot on there in the feed, and I'll go ahead and put it in there again so that you have access to the main article again with all of the grants that I just mentioned on here, because they actually have a plethora of them. All righty, let me close all this out so I know where I'm going. Let's do, I did that one already. I know that I have, the 125. Okay, so let me make sure I'm sharing the right screen. I should be sharing magazine for women, 125 grants and loans, right? This is another really cool, as I like to call it, library or archive of grants that gets updated on a regular basis. So pay no attention to the date that's here. This is December the 16th, very similar to the Nerd Wallet article I just went to. They update it on a regular basis. So these grants are still active. What's neat about this site, and I'll go ahead and put it into y'all's feed. So this is the main link right here, is that you get access to 125 different grants and scholarship opportunities for female businesses. You're probably like, that is a lot. The easiest way for you to weed through all of these is to save the link that I just put into the chat feed, right? So open up a Microsoft Word document, put all of these links. And every other day or so, go to this actual link and scan it and do like 1 through 10. And then the next day through 11 through 20, right? So you just break it into smaller chunks to find out about the different opportunities. Some of the grants that are on here are ones that I've actually already mentioned. Like number 1 on the list is the Amber Grant, which I actually just finished talking to you all about. But they have other ones that are very specific, as well as others that are open to all, right? So they have the Women's Fund of Central Ohio. So if you're in Ohio, that's for you. They also have one on here called Scholarships for Moms. So if you are a mother and a business owner, there is a grant opportunity for you that you can possibly utilize. Look, I'll even put this one in the window for you all. So dig through that actual feed, because there are a lot of opportunities that are listed on that actual grant. Bristol Myers Squibb is another one I'm very familiar with. The Avon Foundation for Women is another one as well that has a plethora of stuff. Oh, very good. Somebody said that they saved it from last year when I shared it. Yes, this is one of my favorite go-tos. This one in the Nerd Wallet because it stays updated. So instead of me having to open 99 tabs on a regular basis with someone, I will literally take them to an archive that has like all of these grants available to them. And they actually remove the ones that are expired or no longer in existence, and then they replace them with updated ones, which is really cool as well. And you can literally go through the list, find ones that are specific to your regional area. There's stuff in here, even for people in Canada. So they try to cover all bases for business owners. And even though it's titled 125 grants and loans for women, there's also some in here that are open for anybody. So like the Business Owners Cafe grant, which is the one I just clicked on, this one is for any business owner, as long as it is a small business. And it is ran through Idea Cafe. It is a $1,000 grant that is given out on a monthly basis. And they also have other grant opportunities as well that they provide. And I just put the link for that one in the window for you all so that you have access to that, just using that as an example. So even though it says that it is or women businesses. There are actual grant opportunities for businesses that are not female led, but primarily on this particular list, it will be a lot of female led firms that they are geared towards. Mommypreneur scholarships, women led military firms is another huge one on here. So you definitely have to go through, check out all of the different ones. And as I mentioned, even though it says, female-led, 125 for female-led firms is open to everyone. So definitely check out all of the different ones that they have on here. Another big one that I definitely want to make sure that I mention is for my artists, because that's a huge one. A lot of times with people in the art and creative arts community, they're like, well, what about this? Because finding grant opportunities sometimes can get a little sketchy when you're on the creative side of the house. But they do have resources for that as well. So you want to check that out for your business as well. All right, my good people, the last one I am going to leave you all with is going to be the big one that is ran by the government, and that is grants.gov. All right, so the grants.gov site, and remember I mentioned not .org, but .gov, is going to be your main go-to site when you are looking for grant opportunities on the government side of the house. All of the different departments, from the DOD to the Department of Humanities, Department of Agriculture, they all have really cool grant opportunities for small business owners on the for-profit and nonprofit side of the house. What scares a lot of people is this site, because it looks like it's a lot, because it is a lot. So definitely go to where it says get started. That's your first step. They even offer resources and classes to have a better understanding of the opportunity. And then you can also click where it says search grants and get a better understanding of all of the different grants and the agencies that are attached to it, because it is a lot of information. So making sure that you take that into consideration. All right, my good people, as I mentioned, that was a plethora of information. It is officially 11 o'clock. I had you for 1 hour. I shared a doozy of information. Please make sure, if you are in need of other assistance, join us again for another resource hour. Also, make sure that you're mindful that this is being recorded and it will be sent out for those individuals that join late, because someone asked a question about what are recommendations for preparing a business before I start. Oh yeah, I covered all of that in the first 10 minutes with slides, Brandy. So yeah, we talked about that at the beginning. So when you get the recording, make sure you check out that first 10 minutes, because I actually gave you some really good things that you all can actually do a screenshot of, because it's a lot. And we try to do this every 3 months or so. We give you some new and up and coming grants or brand new links to grants, just so you all have access to it. All right, can you quick review about saving? Putting your information in Word. So in other words, the links to all of the different grants that I gave you all, instead of just opening up each window on your computer, the easiest way to keep like your own database of grant opportunities is literally just to cut those links and put them in a Microsoft Word document. So you can go and check them whenever you feel like it, at your leisure. I also mentioned utilizing Microsoft Word to save your basic grant information at the beginning, right? So the name of your business, year you was founded, your resume, your bio, all of that stuff that you're going to need in most of your grant applications, having it in one centralized place so that you don't have to keep digging all around for it, right? You have it in one centralized spot. You're like, oh, look at this, Amber Grant. Think I want to apply for it. Open up the folder on your computer, that question that says, tell us about your business. You literally go in, highlight that little blurb that you have already typed up, bam, paste it. Upload your resume. Guess what? Open the folder. There's your resume, right? Bam, upload it. You're good. That's all about time management so that you're able to get all of that done. All right, my good people. Thank you all so much for joining. I hope that you enjoyed another resource hour. We'll be back again in May. It won't be a grant one because we're only doing these every 3 months, but we will be back in May for another resource hour. So thank you all. look out for the recording for this. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you got some solid information. I look forward to your phone calls and emails because I know there's going to be some people winning some dollars out there for their business to grow and be successful. Take care of yourself. Enjoy the rest of your day. And for those of y'all who are in San Antonio, Viva Fiesta, because we kick off today. So I may see you at an event. But be safe wherever you may be and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, everybody.